Hey everyone, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. Happy Monday, July 22nd, 2019. Your 60 seconds of cyber are in, and this weekend has been insane with news from all over the place. And we'll start with Russia, where hackers breached servers at a contractor for the Russia's Federal Security Services, FSB. FSB's Cytech and stole about 7.5 terabytes of data after gaining access to the company's entire network earlier this month. This is according to ZDNet, which was reported on Saturday. ZDNet further claims that the hacking crew in question goes by the name of Zero Virus and also defaced the Cytech website with a Yoba face, the Russian term for a meme known stateside as Comfy Guy. They gained access to Cytech's system on July 13th by breaking into the firm's Active Directory server and from there breaching the entire network, including a Jira instance, a bug tracking and project management tool, something Equifax wish they had, and we'll do more on that later in today's episode. Researchers from the Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection Research Team have issued a warning to confirm that a notorious credential-stealing malware threat is targeting Windows users. What makes this one so dangerous is that it uses an invisible man methodology by only running files within the attack chain that are legitimate system tools and do hide in plain sight. The Azar Trojan can employ many techniques, including key logging and clipboard monitoring, to steal login credentials. However, it is the way that it exploits living off the land binaries that has created a certain level of infamy for the malware. In the case of the threat campaign that the newly published Microsoft report confirms, it was the Windows Management Instrumentation command line that was the LOL bin in question. Andrea Liley, part of the Microsoft Defender ATP research team and author of the report, notes that the victim still has to click on a malicious link in an email to initiate the attack chain via a file that runs on a ubiquitous patch file. The patch file in turn runs the legitimate WMIC system tool in such a way that a JavaScript file runs automatically. And finally, Equifax. Nearly 2 years after the catastrophic Equifax data breach, it looks like the company is readying to cough up damages to many of the 148 million people whose personal information was exposed in the breach. The proposed deal would put the credit reporting agency out as much as $700 million to settle with federal agency and 48 of the U.S. states and territory, the Federal Trade Commission announced on Monday, in what will be the largest ever settlement related to a data breach. Equifax will be required to pay at least $300 million, but as much as $425, and provide free credit monitoring service to all victims of the breach. The settlement still requires court approval. 2 states have still not accepted it. Massachusetts and Oregon are the 2 attorney generals that have filed separate claims against the company. That's it for today's news. As you can see, it's been extremely busy. We'll be back with more tomorrow, so make sure you subscribe, share, and let everyone know what's going on in the cyberspace today. Be safe out there, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Hey everyone, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. Today is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2019, and here are today's 60 seconds of cyber. Business email compromise scams are surging and they're costing U.S. companies over $300 million a month. That's according to a recently analysis by the U.S. Treasury Department, which says that manufacturing and construction firms are the hardest hit by this type of fraud. The analysis, which the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network released this week, found that the number of reported business email compromise scams increased to about 1,100 per month in 2018, up almost twofold from 500 from 2016. A recent spat of attacks targeting domain name systems, protocols, and registrars, DNS, including several incidents that researchers believe have tied to nation-state espionage, is prompting the US and UK government to issue warning and policy updates to improve security. The recent alerts and updates issued by the US General Services Administration which has responsibility for the .gov domain, and the UK National Cybersecurity Centre over the last 2 weeks come at a time when security experts warn that the aging DNS protocols cannot keep up with the modern threats and tools designed to hijack various internet traffic. And finally, Fin8 is back, and we've got more on that. The latest evolution of Fin8's attacks has been detailed by cybersecurity researchers at Gigamon. The security company has uncovered Bad Hatch, a previously unreported form of malware used as part of the financial hacking group's latest campaign. Bad Hatch is deployed to stealthily explore victim networks, as well as distributing additional malware like PooSlurp, a credit card information scraper which steals details of cards swiped through point-of-sale systems. Researchers have managed to reverse engineer the malware and uncover its capabilities. It looks to work alongside other backdoors used by Fin8. We'll keep talking about Fin8 more in our 60 Seconds of Cyber this week. That's it for today. Make sure you subscribe, share, and get the latest data cartel gear on our website at CyberHubEngage.com. Be back with more tomorrow. Hey everyone, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. Today's Wednesday, July 24th, 2019, and here are your 60 Seconds of Cyber on this hump day. Yesterday, Attorney General William Barr argued that irresponsible encryption deployed in applications such as Facebook's WhatsApp is endangering public safety, arguing that backdoor access by law enforcement would only minimally increase data security risks. Barr's remarks were at the Fordham University International Conference on Cybersecurity in New York, extends what's been the US government's long-standing position on encryption. The FBI and other law enforcement agencies contend that end-to-end encryption systems have locked up potential evidence that could be used to fight terrorism, drug trafficking, and sexual predators. We'll talk more about this in our podcast next week. Make sure you subscribe to the CyberHub Engage podcast. A newly discovered form of ransomware is targeting network storage devices by brute forcing weak credentials and exploiting known vulnerabilities in their systems. This newly discovered form of ransomware, dubbed eCroix, after a string of code, the new form of file locking malware emerged in June and has been detailed by cybersecurity researchers at Anomaly. The ransomware specifically targets QNAP networks attached storage NAS devices produced by Taiwanese firm QNAP Systems, which has offices in 16 countries and customers around the entire globe. Several vulnerabilities have been discovered in QNAP NAS devices in recent years, although the company has patched them after they've been discovered and disclosed. However, as we know with the story with Equifax, many organizations still struggle to patch in a timely manner, thus making these vulnerabilities even a larger threat. And finally, something I mentioned on my LinkedIn page yesterday, the NSA is creating a cybersecurity directorate later this year. This was part of a Wall Street Journal article as part of a wider effort to more closely align the agency's offensive and defensive operations. Anna Neuberger has been tapped to lead the new directorate, slated to become operational October 1st, which happens to be the first day of National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. The creation of the directorate and selection of Ms. Neuberger coincide with a broader fusion of the NSA's offensive and defensive portfolios. The integration has been underway for several years now, but has expanded under General Paul Nakasone, who has led the NSA and the US Cyber Command since May of 2019. Specifically, the Trump administration has sought to be more aggressive, and the NSA has adopted a strategy of persistent engagement in cyberspace against foreign adversaries, including Russia, China, and Iran. Most recently, Iran, with the crippling of their missile and air defense systems by the US after shooting down the drone. This story continues to gain more debate, especially after William Barr's remarks yesterday at the International Cybersecurity Conference at Fordham University. That's it for today's news. Make sure you subscribe, share. More coming your way tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Hey everyone, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. Sitting down behind the desk, just finished a Goodbye Privacy podcast that'll be out tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. Today's Thursday, July 25th, 2019, and here are your 60 seconds of cyber for today.
So on Tuesday, July 23rd, Immunity Incorporated announced that it included a fully working Bluekeep exploit inside Canvas version 7.23, the company's pen testing toolkit. In the past, there have been several Bluekeep exploits uploaded on GitHub that could crash remote Windows systems if they had an open RDP service exposed online. Immunity's Canvas Bluekeep module can achieve remote code execution, namely open a shell on infected hosts. While Canvas licenses cost between thousands and tens of thousands of US dollars, hackers have been known to pirate or legitimately buy penetration testing toolkits for their evil exploits. This marks the first time a Bluekeep exploit is accessible, albeit to a limited audience. However, if there's someone who can afford to dish out the money, it's malware operations and intelligence agencies. Cyxtera did acquire Immunity in June of 2018 and have not yet commented on this story specifically. However, Immunity did release its Bluekeep exploit on the same day cybersecurity analysts began sharing and studying the most detailed write-up on the Bluekeep vulnerability known to date. However, Dave Aitel, Immunity's CEO, said their exploit was the result of their own research and not based on the write-up authored by a Chinese researcher and presented at a security conference in China over the last weekend. Intrusion Truth, an online group of anonymous cybersecurity analysts, have doxed another cyber espionage hacking group linked to the Chinese government. This is the third Chinese cyber espionage group, also known as an APT or Advanced Persistent Threat, that Intrusion Truth has doxed in as many years. They previously revealed the secret identities of individuals part of two Chinese hacker groups in May of 17 and August of 08, namely APT-3 and APT-10. Those revelations resulted in the Department of Justice indicting some of the group's members, also in November of 17 and December of 18, respectively. That's it for today's news. Make sure you follow us, share, and let us know what you want to hear about. We love to cover the stories that matter most to you. That's it for today. We'll be back with more tomorrow.
Hey, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. It is Friday, July 26, 2019, and here are today's 60 seconds of cyber. New York has done it once again. Businesses now throughout the US will be required to notify New Yorkers as quickly as possible when their information is compromised in a security incident, under that bill that was signed by Governor Cuomo yesterday. The law, which takes effect in March of 2020, requires companies to notify individuals in the most expedient time possible and without unreasonable delay, a time period that generally means 30 days. That's according to State Senator Kevin Thomas, who reintroduced the SHIELD Act after it failed to pass in 2017. Louisiana's governor has issued an emergency declaration on Wednesday in response to a rash of malware infections hitting some of the state's public schools. The move by Governor John Bell Edwards marks the first time ever that a state has declared a state emergency over a cyber incident. School systems in 3 parishes in the northern part of the state, Sabin, Morehouse, and Ouachita, have been affected, according to a press release from the governor's office. Louisiana did not identify the malware, but one school district has identified the problem to a local media as a ransomware attack. And finally, we go to Mother Russia. A contractor for the Russian military that was sanctioned for interfering in the 2016 US election has developed an Android malware that is being used in highly targeted attacks that exfiltrate data using third-party applications. That's according to mobile security company Lookout. The malware, allegedly developed by the contractor in St. Petersburg-based Special Technology Center, the STC, is capable of installing the attacker's own software certificate in a certificate store and then using it for a man-in-the-middle attack, intercepting data before it reaches its intended recipient. The so-called Moncol malware is extremely invasive, according to Lookout. It can record a target's device screen while the user is unlocking it, capturing the user's PIN. It abuses Android's accessibility features to harvest data from third-party apps, and it uses predictive text dictionaries to figure out what the target user is really interested in. More on that next week on our Goodbye Privacy podcast. That's it for today's cyber news. You guys have a safe weekend, last weekend of July, so make sure you enjoy whatever of the summer you have left. We'll be back with more on Monday.